Hey everybody, welcome to the NewtoCoaching community tonight. I'm Allison Peterson, and tonight we're talking about 3 surprising shifts that happen after spring break in instructional coaching. I am so excited to talk about this with you tonight. I think that these surprising shifts are going to surprise you. And if you are a new coach and this is the first year that you are hitting spring break and post spring break, this session will absolutely help you. It'll help you really think about what you're walking into and then how to utilize this end of year time to really maximize your time with teachers and to already start working on next year with them. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm so excited you're here. Welcome, welcome. Hey, friends, everyone who's out there. It's wonderful to see you. Hi, Tina. Hi, Leslie. How's everybody tonight? Okay, so hi, Lisa. If you are a new coach who's just been hired and you haven't actually started coaching yet, you need to drop me a hashtag new hire. I have had so many members of the NewtoCoaching community come in who were just hired. It's hiring season, friends. If you got hired, we want to celebrate with you. It is so exciting that you've gotten the job, that you did the interview, that you went through the whole process, but it's also an interesting waiting time between now and school starting. And you really want to start getting your head around what this new job is. By the way, if you like my current background, I'm hanging out in my son's room tonight. He has the cool gamer setup and I had to borrow his space, but it's actually kind of working for me right now. I mean, I love football, I love baseball, all the things. Hey, Dawn, how are you? How's everybody out there tonight? I'm so glad you're here. So tonight, again, we're talking about the 3 surprising shifts that happen for you as an instructional coach after spring break. And you have to tell me where you are with spring break. I just came back. Today was my first day back off of spring break. And that's why I like to do this kind of a session right around now where we're like re-entering back into like the last 30 days of school for us. And so where are you? Did you have spring break 3 weeks ago? Did you just get back? Are you still waiting on spring break to come? Oh my goodness, bless you if you're still waiting on spring break to come. So tell me where you are with the spring break for you and about, if you know, I'm sure you've on the countdown by now, how many days you have left of school so that we can kind of see where everybody is. Everybody had different start dates and end dates, but still you're probably running to the end of the school year by now and really getting a feel. So, okay, we've got spring break was mid-March. So we've definitely had some second week back. Spring break mid-March. So we've definitely had some mid-March 3 weeks ago. All right. So you've been off. Hi, Kyoko. How are you? Okay. 22 days left. Like we are on the countdown here. 30 days left. Okay. All right. You're still waiting for spring break. It's going to be okay. You'll make it, Lori. You'll get there. Everybody needs it really badly. Second week back, 6 weeks left of school. Spring break is in 2 weeks. Yes. Okay. 39 days left. Yes. So everybody is on this final stretch. And yes, this is the next thing that's happening. Thank you, Christina, leading us right into what's going on right now is teachers are focused on testing. Testing season hits us so hard after we get back from spring break / a few weeks after. And it feels like a little bit of a slap in the face, like to be honest, because it's so much going on. You may have to shift your role. I know I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and she was saying that she has to put on the coordinator hat, and it is killing her. She wishes she could do coaching, and it's just all she can do right now is focus on coordinating testing. And so if you're shifting your role a little bit like that, and you feel like you have to totally put down testing, to put down coaching for this time of year, it becomes really, really hard. So I'm hearing a lot of, we're in the middle of the state testing. Hey, Melanie. And Melissa says, definitely lots of testing coming up. Okay, so one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is how we're going to shift our coaching around testing. So I'm going to share a couple things with you though before we start. So tell me, while I'm going to share these 2 things, how are your teachers feeling? Like, what is their state of mind right now in all of this? Okay, so let's just get to the reality of where our teachers are. It's spring break. there's 32 days left to school and testing is coming down. So just give me a little comment there about that while I share with you a couple things I want to make sure you know about. So I have my new book that came out in October, Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles. I want to tell you something exciting about it. I am so desperate to get it in your hands. If you have not ordered your copy, though I know many of you have, I have some familiar faces in here. So if you've ordered a copy, I'm so grateful for you. But I want to make sure that every new coach or coach who's been at it a year or so or more is got this in their hands. So I have this new opportunity that I'm really excited to share with you. And it is, I'm going to add this to the stage here. This is my website for the book. It's kickstartyourcoachingcycles.com. And I've just released a new opportunity for you to get a copy of the book for free. The free part of it is that the book itself is free. You're just going to pay for your shipping. And if you are interested in getting a cheap copy of my book so that you can have it, my hope is for you to get it in your hands. I am going to mention a couple things from it tonight. So as I point those out, it may encourage you to go get it and read a little bit more. But I have a free copy option now on my website. So that's at kickstartyourcoachingcycles.com. And just go there, click the get a free copy button, and you can pay to $5.99 to get a copy of the book. So I really just wanted to offer this up and make sure that those of you who hadn't gotten a copy of the book yet, but were waiting maybe, could go ahead and get that in your hands. So I've got that for you. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you, let me see if I can switch here. The other thing I wanted to share with you is my workshop that I'm hosting this summer. So I don't know if you know that I have an in-person workshop that I do. I host it with my Breakthrough Circle community, but it's open to the NewtoCoaching community for those who might want to join us. And so if you are available, June 25th through 28th, grab your cal and look it up. What are you doing at the end of June? Can you come to Orlando and hang out with us? This is a very intimate, small conference workshop style. It's about 30 coaches, instructional coaches. It's been women for the past 3 years that we've done it. And you can kind of get a feel with the picture there. It's round tables style, lots of discussion, lots of practicing coaching. And we focus on prepping our plans and goals for the new school year, our vision, our beliefs, all of the things that we need to do to re-anchor so that we can start the school year strong. And then we talk a little bit about how we can get into the practical work of coaching, leaning into Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, and how do you get things up and running, and how do you really stay focused on coaching when you get back to school. So if you are interested in an in-person experience, a workshop style, connecting with amazing other coaches, please know that this information is available for you. And it's at newtocoaching.info/workshop 2025. So those are two things I just wanted to make sure you knew about, because they were great opportunities for you to get plugged in right away, grab a copy of the book, ask your admin if they will pay for you to come to Orlando and hang out with us. So that's the plan. Let me know if you have any questions about either of those two things. Obviously, just give me a shout in the DMs and things. Okay, so here we're getting back to our conversation about spring break. Where is everybody? How is everybody feeling? So the question that I asked was, how is all your teachers feeling right now? I'm going to run through all of these because you need to know you are not alone. Half of the reason that you need to come to the NewtoCoaching group for live streams and such, and books and workshops, is to realize, like, you're not alone, girl. Everyone else around you is experiencing these same crazy things. So let's go through it. Stressed, over it. I love that, Lauren. More stressed, unhappy, and overwhelmed. Stress, overwhelmed, survival mode. We're in the state testing, stressful, exhausted, pressured, tired, counting the days, exhausted, all of the things. Okay. So this is really, really important for us to understand where our teachers are when they come back from spring break, and the pressure that they're feeling, and the burnout that they're feeling, and the stress that they're under. And so there is this thing. Let me share this actually real quick. Hold on. I'm going to switch tabs, share this tab instead. And present. Where's my present button? Oh, that'll work. Okay, hold on. Go back. And now here. And there we go. Okay. One of the things I want you to understand as we go into what we're talking about tonight is that there are ebbs and flows to coaching. And so we have to realize that during these different times of the school year, there is a drop in the fact that you can actually get to coaching the way that you think you should be able to. And it's really easy to get frustrated as a new coach because you keep wondering like why teachers are not willing to engage in coaching. And there is this flow of times when they're more willing to engage in coaching and then when they're really not willing, like after spring break. So I put this little up and down chart together because I wanted to put like a visual to the ebb and flow. So in August, it's like you're jumping on a moving train. Everybody is, you and everybody else who's jumping on the train with you. In September, you're working on getting everything up and running, right? And you finally get small groups up and running and teachers get their classrooms established. And so there's really a little bit of room for coaching there. It's busy. There's things you can help with, the things that people need. It's working. And then you hit a lull quickly at like a fall break time. Whenever you guys have fall break, that usually can give you a little hiccup, but it's not so much that it's going to really stop your momentum. Fall break, it's just going to give you a little like a start stop. And then you're going to get to October. Usually PD is coming up in October. You're going to have to present something. You're going to be running your PLCs. You're trying to get all of that up and running. And it's another good time for coaching. Like September, October are prime times for coaching. But once Thanksgiving rolls around and winter break, I actually think from Thanksgiving all the way to January, you are in a place where coaching is hard to get started. And it's a really tough time that you are thinking, well, why doesn't anybody want to do coaching? And it's because we're so close to those breaks. So then we get back up to the top around January. We're responding to data. We're testing again. We've got a little bit of momentum, and you can coach all the way till spring break. And then there is this lull. It's a very normal lull, and it comes from what you're talking about in the comments here. The pressure and the exhaustion and the overwhelm and the survival mode that your teachers are in right now means that they have no space to try anything new. And really what coaching is helping teachers try something new, refine their practice, make changes, and there's just no mental capacity for that right now. And then we're going to talk about how summer and next year are a really important part of this. But other thing I really want you to know before we go into my first surprise is that this is different than teaching, okay? Teaching, when you were a teacher, you had a class and they came in August and then you worked with them and then they left in, June and they were gone and they weren't yours anymore and they weren't really your responsibility anymore, okay? And like you did everything you could for them, but they left and you were going to get a new batch. That's really hard to get your head around when you've been doing that kind of style for 23 years, that coaching is not like that. Coaching doesn't end because the school year ends. Yes, it lulls because your teachers disappear, but you can bring them back in. But then the school year starts again, and you've got the same group of students who you're working with now, and you're going around for cycle year 2 and year 3, and you've built relationships with them, and the progress that you're making, or the progress that you're able to make, even in this weird window after spring break, it's going to come back, and actually seeds planted now are going to start sprouting in August, because that's how it works with the cycle of working with these teachers again. And so sometimes it's hard when we're on our teacher calendar style to realize that you're going to bring everything you're doing, like it doesn't really end. It's just going to continue all the way into next year. And these are the same teachers you're going to be working with. You don't get a new crop, except a few, new hires that get jumping on the moving train with you. So think about those things. There's natural ebbs and flows. And then there's a continuous state of being of coaching these teachers. And so that's not going to change. So if we start having that long picture view, you start seeing things a little bit differently. So let's talk about the first surprise. All right. So tell me if this is right, if this sounds right to you. And if you have been coaching for more than a year, if you've kind of experienced this too. When this happens after spring break, hitting survival mode, exhausted, stressed, overwhelmed, all the things, there is really no ability to coach them. Their brains are not in a place that they can actually attend to changes and things that they need to make because they are in this overwhelmed state. So we have to think about how we're going to shift back a little bit to focusing on relationship building and realizing that the relationships that you are spending time investing in right now, they are going to come back around to opportunities to coach them. It might come back around as soon as this summer, when a teacher's mind does clear up and free up for you and is willing to come in. Let's say she's willing. They're not always willing, but let's say she's willing and she wants to work with you on something. So just know that even though this doesn't feel like a really productive time for you as a coach, where you're moving teachers forward and you're making sure that their teaching and their instruction is improving, that if you are instead working on building relationships with them and helping them through this tough time, which may mean that your conversations with them are not instructional at all. They may be a little bit more encouragement. They may be a little bit more reminders that they've done everything they can for the year, because this state, like it says, we're in state testing stress, right? So like this pressure that they put upon themselves, that they're not good enough, they didn't do enough, and that they haven't done enough as teachers this year, and now it's not going to come out in the test, and then they're going to be epic failures. Like, they need you to coach them in a different way right now. Coach them in a relational encouragement way. And so getting back to Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, I talk about this a lot in here. I have a whole chapter on relationship building and the idea of the marble jar. And I talk about how if you are dropping relationship marbles into the jar, that you can move from relational coaching to heavier coaching later. That these relationship connections that you're making now, they're actually going to be the thing that's going to help you open doors for coaching in the future, in the fall. And so you've got to be thinking long term, that right now no one wants to coach with you, but if you will pour into your teachers right now, it will come back in an amazing way for you. And then towards the end of my book, in chapter, I want to say it's 11. Let me see. 11. Hold on. Yes. Okay. It's chapter 11. Is celebrate progress. Okay. So this is a huge part of something you can be doing right now at the end of the year. And this is a big relationship piece. So this is looking for ways to celebrate the teacher's progress, celebrate what they have done this year, help them see what they have done. So like for this year, for me, we implemented a new math curriculum, and I'm telling you, y'all, I was kind of amazed because I didn't get any complaints. I didn't get any complaints from teachers about this program. Now, I got some comments that it was rigorous and that the word problem part was difficult, but they actually liked that. And they were like, okay, we're going to teach our kids how to handle these word problems because they're tricky. But there were like no complaints. And I was like, oh my gosh. They helped pick it, so they had a part in choosing it. So I'm so grateful that it actually turned out to be a program that they really like. But my teachers have loved it this year, and they have invested in making sure they're implementing it and using the workbooks and everything that came with it. They have tried it, and they really deserve to be celebrated because they have worked so hard this year to implement this math program, and they've really given it their all. I've not heard the grumbling and complaining that, any new program usually brings on. So that's an amazing opportunity to celebrate teachers. And so looking for ways to build relationships, celebrate teachers, lift them up, celebrate them individually, friends, but also celebrate them collectively. So the whole faculty worked on the math implementation. I guess there's a few teachers who don't teach math, but for the most part, but also think about fun ways to celebrate them and all the work that they've done this year. In here, I share about the story of the wins of the week type of model that you can use. I've heard so many teachers using things like badges or stickers on their doors. What can you do to help celebrate them and lift them up in this time? Because those are things that are going to be the reminders and uplifting encouragement that they really need. So you tell me, is this sounding like maybe where you need to shift a little bit of your focus? Maybe a surprising shift, because I think our tendency is to finish strong and push teachers to the end. And honestly, that could create pushback. So let's be careful with how much we're pushing them during this time when they're already so pushed by everyone else, by the state testing pressure and everything else. Let's not have you be the one who is also pushing so hard that they're going to break. Personally, that's my personal opinion. There are times when you should be pushing. It just might not be right here after spring break. Let me tell you about some things you can do, though. I think that'll help. Okay. Can we learn which program you adopted? Now, I'm going to tell you, but it may not be the perfect fit for your school because I've heard people have mixed feelings about it. But we went with Go Math from K through 6th grade and into math from through 7th and 8th. And we're a K to 12 school. And that is the Halton Mifflin, the HMH program. So I'll tell you more about it if you want to know. I think my teachers just really had a hand in picking it. And so ultimately, they had already previewed it and weren't as like, oh, this is so top down, I feel like, because they helped pick it for sure. So anyway, maybe that works for you too. Okay, Michelle Gonzalez, I'm glad you're here. I was just talking about you, but I didn't say your name. We are giving out teacher raffle testing tickets to positively celebrate those who are actively monitoring, giving out gift cards and candy prizes. That is so fun. Okay, anybody else doing fun things like this? Lisa said, yes, this is perfect. This is what we need to be doing. Okay. This, Kyoko, if you have a few teachers at different sites, how do you celebrate them? I know, Kyoko, how many, don't you work with like 7 buildings? It's a lot. I can't remember if you're the 7 or the 11. So the different buildings thing is you could try like the raffle thing and have them, do a gift card, like raffle digitally or something like that. There are so many little things, but the more you can think about the individual teacher and the specific win that she had, and then celebrate her. If you can't go see her, can you email her a fun card, like a Canva designed card celebrating her? Can you do things like that? Send her a special text message just to her. Like it's that simple because that will mean the world. Can you write her a handwritten note? Everyone loves a handwritten note, right? So what are little things that you can do if you can't get to every building and you have too many people? Because it is a lot. It is a lot. I get that. Celebration is for sure the way to go. I give out prizes for any teacher that shows up at our PDs. Absolutely. Always celebrate them. Kyoko, I was thinking maybe it was 11. You are right. Okay. So 11 buildings, friends. That's how many buildings she works with. It's too many. We all know that. Okay. So let's talk about number 2. And this is also an important part of the model that I share in Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles. So there are some teachers who are overwhelmed, okay? But there's also a group of teachers who isn't. You'll be surprised. They're out there. I promise they are. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about your one teacher that you can think of who is not overwhelmed right now. Hold on, by the way, Michelle said, we are also posting our wins of the week to our weekly updates as well as verbal praise during PD. I love that. You guys are doing some great celebrations. Paperless post is a great idea, Lauren. Very huge. All right, y'all use that. Definitely steal that. Any other ideas? Share them so I can share them with everyone. So there is a group of teachers out there, a small group. They're a small percentage, okay? But they are actually ready to try something new. And those are your runners. So in Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, I do talk about the runners, okay? I talk about how you can start coaching cycles with runners. But runners, you can start with at any time because they're always thinking about new things. They're always willing to try something. They're always kind of game for working with you on something. So I had a runner email me yesterday, which was Sunday, the last day of spring break. Okay. She must have been thinking about this all spring break. And she's like, or she didn't email me. Sorry. She texted me. She goes, hey, I'm thinking about doing Shakespeare with 8th grade. And I was like, okay. And I swear, I thought she meant next year because we had been having some other conversations about next year. So I was like, okay, she wants to do Shakespeare next year with them because, that would be cool. Maybe she could build that in. And so I write her back and she was like, no, I mean for tomorrow. I was like, you're going to do what? Shakespeare for tomorrow. But she's a runner, and she was like, here's why. They finished the poetry unit really quick. They're really strong. This group is ready for a challenge. I want to check with the high school teachers, see if they already teach Macbeth, and then I think we could do it. And I was like, okay. Like, I mean, she was ready to jump in with 2 feet into Shakespeare after spring break. And not every teacher is ready to do something like that. But there are teachers out there who are thinking about how they could do something outside of the box at the end of the year, because it's almost like free play. Like, you've done your testing and you've gotten them to their standards and you're feeling really good about where they should be. So what could I do to finish the year strong? And so I want you to think about 1 or 2 teachers that you're like, oh yeah, you know what? She's probably thinking, cooking up something good. And maybe they want to do a project-based learning. Maybe they want to do, one of my teachers has done podcasts that were just fabulous. So they wrote their own podcasts. Maybe they want to have kids make videos. Maybe they, a million things. Project-based science project, who knows what they're thinking of. Design thinking projects. There could be something they're cooking up for the end of the year that meet their standards and that, fall under the things. So tell me, do you have a teacher or 2 that you can think of who might be ready to try a new thing? You might be surprised, but that's the ones that you go after, friends. The thing is that you cannot coach all of them right now. All of them are stressed. They're overwhelmed. They don't even say hi when they walk by you in the hallway because they're so focused or mad or whatever they are. But there are the ones who stop and talk to you and want to know what you got going on, and they want to tell you what they've got going on. And those are the ones that you latch onto. Those are the runners. Those are the ones that you can coach right now, that you don't have to be like, oh, hey, sorry, it's too busy, too much testing. You'll be like, tell me when you're going to do it. Let's meet and talk about it. So there is a few teachers out there that might surprise you who would be ready to start something right away. And you can start looking for them and listening to the things they're thinking about. So tell me if you have a teacher or 2 who might be interested in starting something new at the end of the year. I have so many. I just have a few who are just my really creative ones. One of them just did a March Madness statistics activity in her math class, and it went really well and it was really fun. And so, it totally met her standards, but she was going to do it in a fun way, and we got to collaborate on it, and then got to see the kids really love it. So just keep your eye out. There could be 1 or 2. All right. So that's surprising shift number 2, which is realizing that the runners are actually ready to try new things, even though you're not sure. Even though everyone else is stressed. So the runners, we talked about them in the book. All right. So this is surprise number 3, and it's probably the one that you're experiencing right alongside me right here, which is, did you know that it's actually next year already? Surprise! It's next year already. So what is happening here after spring break, which probably started before spring break for you, is that everything that your admin is starting to think about is about next year. So we've got kind of two camps. We've got an admin camp. They're starting to think about next year, hires, contracts, PD for next year, things for the summer. Like, they're just thinking ahead. And then you've got the camp of your teachers who are stressed and worried about testing and things like that, and worried about how to get to the end of the year. And so it's interesting because you're kind of between these 2 places, but when you're over on the admin side of things, you're going to realize really quickly that everything is focused on next year. And it's a weird shift. If you are new to coaching and you've been in the classroom for a long time, thinking about next year so early feels a little bit like, oh my gosh, we're thinking about this already. I'm not ready. So I'm wondering how you're feeling about that. Lisa says she has several of those runner teachers. Oh my God, yes. Our next year plans are already piling up. Admin are the worst about this. Yes. But here are some things. Okay, so the things that are going on with admin is you can be a part of those important conversations, and that's in a really important way for you to influence and lead up. So don't miss that. Even though you're not able to coach teachers right now, you probably do have some room to speak into some things that you're being invited into with the admin conversations. So, is there places where you can coach up and you can be thinking about those things for next year? So when I say coach up, I mean, let's say your admin says, I think we want to do some kind of summer PD, and they have this like vague plan. Well, you walk away and you go and you design something that you think would be a good fit, and you bring it back and you're like, yeah, I know you mentioned that. Here's what I drew up. Do you think this would work? Can I have your thoughts on this? Like, what do you think about this idea? And bring your ideas to the table. Let me say it again. Bring your ideas to the table. Most of the time, admin are thinking about things, but they don't have the ability to execute them because they have too many things on their plate. And if you go away and come back with a plan, all of a sudden, the plan you were hoping for, usually is like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you put that together. That would be great. Or tweak this, or let's change that. And now we have a plan. Instead of you waiting on them, I find myself in this situation sometimes where I'm like, yeah, they want to do that. They want to work on that. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and they're not really ready. And then they're not really, and then we never get to work on it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to work on it and then I'll show it to you and you tell me what you think. So remember that you can come into this conversation coaching up. And so shift your coaching from coaching teachers to coaching admin because you have a lot to bring to the table. They value your opinion. They invited you to the seat. Make sure you take advantage of that. That's my encouragement to you. Okay. And then, wait, let me see what these comments are here. We have some teachers in next year land as well. I've also had my daydream set in next year. Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to talk about working with teachers for next year next. So that's perfect. So Madison, tell me what you've been talking to them about. I want to know. Okay, we offered to draft up the August training calendar and the Friday calendar, and our admin was so relieved. Grace. Yes, I think this comment needs to just be multiplied to everyone. Just draft it and then bring it to them, and they will be so relieved that they didn't have to do it. Remember that, and we can go deep dive into the working genius, which is a personality typing. But remember that you have a gift of creation, maybe that your admin might not have or have time for, and so you can actually help multiply what they want to do by creating for them. So don't hesitate to take their idea and try and bring it to life and then bring it back to them and say, what do you think? Okay, so now let's talk about what Madison was just talking about. What about the teachers? How do we start to get them to think about next year? Because it's next year already. And after spring break, we need to start having a lot of next year conversations with them. And we need to start shifting them to next year thinking. So I'm going to write up here, what do you want to do differently is one of the best questions you can ask in this situation. So I want you to think about when you do have an opportunity to coach teachers here after spring break, how can we start coaching them on next year? How can we start talking to them about next year? How can we start moving them towards thinking about that? It's interesting how they're not really ready to change anything right now because it's the end of the year, but they will very openly answer this question and think about how they would do something different next year. And they'll say all those things to you. So you can do those one-on-one meetings. You can ask in a PLC. You can find any opportunity where you're going to get them together and you're going to say, so as you've been thinking about, reflecting on this year, what is it that you want to do differently next year as you get started? Or what do you want to do differently next year with your math instruction? Like I am asking my teachers, even though they really liked this math curriculum, what do you want to do differently with math next year? Because it's fresh on their minds. And I want them to also write down and make sure they've noted like when they moved, if they moved any units or they sequenced it differently than the book, so that they remember that they did that. Honestly, like when they come back in August, they won't remember that they did that unless they wrote it down. And so what do you want to do differently next year? What do you want to do differently in the subject? What do you want to do differently with student management, classroom management? What do you want to do differently with assessment and data? Like it doesn't matter. Just tag something onto the end of it and ask the question. And here's the thing. They're not going to do anything with the answer to that question yet. but you just got a pot of gold, friends, because come this summer or August or when school starts, you're going to have taken notes on the things they said. And I want you to be really intentional about writing down the things they said, making them write it down on exit tickets and keep those. And then bring them back out and say, okay, so one of the things that we really wanted to reflect on about math for this year was making sure that we move our geometry units to earlier in the year so that it shows better on the assessments or whatever, right? But that's when you bring it up. They're not going to change anything in April, but in August, it's time to talk about that because it's becoming more and more relevant. So you're looking for ways to kind of capture the things they want to do and then help them do that next year. So draft up the calendar, and then teachers will have the same group of students. They're thinking through how to support them based on the end of year data. Others are asking me to work with them on next year's SLO goals. Okay, that's so great. Thank you, Madison, for sharing that. So that is an interesting, model, like, when they roll up with them. But I think that's so great because it leaves them thinking about, okay, these kids are going to be with me again. So what do I want to do differently? And so I think that's a great question to ask as well. And then there was something else I was going to say. How many of you do summer work with your teachers? Like meet with them one-on-one, bring them in for PD. Do y'all do that? I'm just curious because I know there's a lot of rules and unions and things. So do you do any of that? And how can you use this end of year time to think about next year? Let me put this back up. So that end of year time, you get to spring break and then you end up kind of in the summer and next year mode all of a sudden. And there are some things that we can reflect on at the end of this year to help them start strong at the beginning of next year. So I really think that that's one of the things you can be thinking about is where do you want to do that? Where do you want to talk to them about next year? The other thing that we've done is really starting to get them together in like grade level teams or PLCs, and then talk to them about some of the things we're adding for next year. Like last year, we had decided to add UFly for this year. And so come April, May, I brought them in and we showed them the UFly and we had them look at it and we got their thoughts on it. And we asked what they thought of adding this layer. They'd been asking for that. So it was confirming because they were able to say, yes, we really want this. And I was like, great, you're agreeing to it in April and I'll give it to you. / you might want to do a little bit of training over the summer. Like here's some things you can do to prepare. So if you already know that you have new curriculum coming down the pipe, new anything, we have new standards in Georgia, like so much new. How can you go ahead and start having conversations about those things now? I am taking some teachers for a full day where we are starting to look at the new Georgia standards and start to really unpack those and work through those because that's going to take a long time for us to process and get through. And we're not on the same timeline as the Georgia schools. So anyway, things like that. What's new that's coming down the pike for next year that you already know about that you can start previewing with them? That is the win. All right, y'all tell me. Let me see. Okay, we have summer PDs. We're starting to work on which PD would be presented based on this year's student-teacher progress. Okay, that's great. Is it mandatory or do they just come if they want to? What is the model there? We do a back to school retreat. My runners are also wanting to collaborate over the summer. Lean into your runners and start looking for your joggers. Now that joggers, a language comes from Ron Clark's book, but it's like the ones who are right behind the runners are not as proactive, but they have a lot of potential, and start, go after them and be like, when they're not overwhelmed, because sometimes they get overwhelmed, go and ask them if they would like to schedule a summer day with you. Go ahead and start asking people to schedule summer days with you. if you're willing and if that works in your schedule and if you're paid over the summer. So depending on your situation, but ask them to start scheduling that. It's not too early. People are deciding what vacation they're taking this summer. They can also know when they're going to come in and chat with you about their pacing guide or whatever. And they have so much more mental space and freedom in the summer to think that it is such a gift to like know that they could come in and talk to you. So personally, that's what's worked for me. I started a Google Sheet with different tabs for topics and ideas and reflections for next year for my partner, coach, and I. Good. Asking them for end of year thoughts there. Teachers are paid to attend summer PD. That's awesome, Lori. Like the back to school retreat idea. That is awesome. I think we need like 15 days of back to school to train on board new teachers. We are working primarily with our teacher leaders this summer for data diving and PLC leadership so we can focus on new teachers in the fall. That is awesome, Lauren. That is like creating a group of runners who's ready to run and turn around and lead. And that's how you create a culture of coaching, is to develop up your runners, give them that additional training, your teacher leaders, and teach them something, and then expect them to turn around and lead. And now they're going to coach, and they can coach right from their seat. Teach them how to ask good questions, and they will be coaches. So that's exciting. Okay, friends, I love this. Keep bringing me your thoughts about what you're doing for the summer, and tell me what has been most useful for you in this conversation. Our 3 surprises that we talked about. First of all, we talked about a natural ebb and flow of coaching. This is not just you. If you are feeling overwhelmed, this is not you. If you think that it's only your teachers who have gone crazy, it's not just you. If you can't get to coaching, I don't want you feeling guilty or feeling like you're not doing enough. That we're going to just shake all that off right now. Okay. You are new to this, but I'm telling you, this is a flow that happens after spring break, and it's normal. So look for the ways that you can focus on getting these wins with teachers now that are going to have a return for you in the fall. And that's kind of a new perspective shift. Let's just start thinking about the fall right here. It's only April, but let's think about August and September. So what was most useful for you? So our first shift was realize that it's okay to shift back to relationship building. I'm telling y'all, relationship building gets a really bad rap. And I wrote a whole book on why you need to have relationships. And I do not believe that relationships should get the bad rap that they get. They are vital to your success as a coach. And in this time, you need to lean into relationship building, encouragement, and supporting teachers with anything and everything that they need. So that's surprise number 1. Number 2 was look for the runners, because they might be ready to try something new at the end of the year. So you could still get some coaching in. Just look for the right teachers. And then surprise number 3 was it's actually next year already, didn't you know? And how can you start coaching up to your administration in some different environments that are helping you feel like you get to get the things done that you wish could get done? And how can you really be asking your teachers about what they want to be doing differently next year, and starting to really collect the things that they say they want to do so that you can help them do those things, whether it's over the summer, if you can work with them, or when school starts. You can circle back when school starts to a conversation in April. Yes, like totally do that. Be like, remember we talked about that? I would love to help you. So that's awesome. Okay, let's see here. We read that one. Okay, coaching up was helpful for you, Lisa. I'm so glad. I like the celebrating of teachers, and someone said they do once of the week. I'm going to add these to my practice. Yes, search in the NewtoCoaching group wins of the week, and Sarah Ranzow has a couple of examples that she has shared of different ways that she does it. So look for that in the group. Affirmed that we are taking steps in the right direction as 2 first-year coaches waiting through the year. Yes, Grace. Yes. And you have to just figure it out as you go, but I want to encourage you and help you know that this is totally normal. Thanks for sharing. I love the question. What would you like to do differently? I always forget about that. I am all about relationship building and we'll be sending out those rewards. Awesome. Affirmation that I was moving in the right direction. Celebrate building up relationships again and thinking about what's next. I'll be asking that question in PLC this week. Madison, will you make a post and tell us what they say? We can't wait to hear. Thinking about ways to build relationships now, as well as asking, what do you want to do differently? Okay, so those things are working for you. Thank you, Lauren. Get back to relationship building in the midst of testing. Reflect with teachers about the year and take notes. Yes, Michelle, we're going to do it. Starting right now, celebrating success from this school year, reinforcing the growth achieved. I can see it. I can see how it would be helpful to do that instead of waiting. That's so awesome. One of the mantras that I talk about in the book and in the book in the NewtoCoaching group is hashtag. If change is the goal, progress is the win. That's the phrase. If change is the goal, progress is the win. I don't have a banner for it, but what I want you to remember is that if you want to see change happening and you think you've got big change that's going to happen, that's going to take 3 to 5 years for you to see that change. So what you're celebrating now is the small wins, the little steps of progress. And then you're helping teachers see that they're making that progress too. So celebrating the small, seemingly small progress is how you actually see change happening when it's actually happening in front of you. Because big change takes, it's like, turning the Titanic. It takes a big turn and it takes a long time for that to happen. And so instead, the small wins. So Tina, let's do that. Let's definitely start celebrating those teachers now. And don't forget that like a very personal celebration, a text message, a card, bring them a Sonic drink, something that says, I see you is so, so, so valuable, or the way you're pouring into a teacher in that way. And then if you can do global things too, that's amazing. But don't forget that one-on-one type of encouragement. So, friends, I am your biggest cheerleader as you are, here, let me switch this real quick, as you are going back into the realm of coaching in the middle of after spring break. And I want you to have everything you need. So I have this live stream, I have the NewtoCoaching group, I have my YouTube channel, I have me. You can send me a DM. If you send me a DM in Facebook, I will answer it. I am on the other side of it. I promise. And I also wrote this book for you. And now I'm going to give it to you for $5, $6, let's say. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, please grab a free copy and pay shipping and then get it in your hands. If you can't wait the 7 to 10 days, you can also order it on Amazon. Okay, so that's at kickstartyourcoachingcycles.com. So don't forget about that. And then if you are interested in coming to my in-person workshop this summer, if you are thinking about that, if you want to know more information about that, there's a website. So go to the website because it has the agenda on it. It has everything on it. But there are still spots open for you to come to Orlando, June 25th through 28th. It's a Wednesday through a Saturday, and it is an intimate coaching workshop that I am leading, and some of the other ladies who have been a part of my group for 3 or 4 years are going to be leading with me. You will get to talk to people in small group settings, and it will not feel like a huge old conference. It'll feel like you just got to hang out with your besties and talk about coaching while you were there. So if you're interested in coming to the workshop, give me a shout. Go ahead and drop me a hashtag, learn more, if you want to know more about the workshop, and I will be more than happy to send you some info. And then that way you can learn a little bit more about the workshop, or if you want to grab a copy of the book. So those are some ways that we can connect and stay connected, friends. I am so grateful that you spent this hour with me. I hope it was helpful, and I'm glad to see your comments that it was. So if you need anything, post in the NewtoCoaching group. I will see it. Share what you're doing. If you're doing one of these things, you're going to do celebrations, you're going to ask the question, what do you want to see? What do you want to do differently? Like, start telling us what you're up to. Post in the NewtoCoaching group. We can't wait to see it. So do that and share with us, and then connect with me directly if you have questions about the workshop. and grab a copy of the book because I really couldn't give it to you any more free. You have to have it. I want you to have a free copy of Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I will see you in the NewtoCoaching group, and I can't wait to hear how you finish this school year. All right? I'll talk to you soon, okay? Bye, friends. You're so welcome.